does faith come in with forming public policy? Well, it's not enough to wave the flag and sing God Bless America. I have a question for you. Why should God bless America? We've savagely slaughtered millions of innocent babies in what should be the safest place in all the world for them, their mother's wombs. We've disregarded the value of the elderly and the handicapped, deciding arbitrarily which of these children of God deserves to live. We have run God out of most every part of our lives. We can no longer pray in public, at sports events, or in the classroom. We can't celebrate Christ's birth, his death, or his resurrection except behind closed doors. There are those out there who don't want us to use his names on our diplomas, our dates, or our dollars. We've ignored his word, scoffed at his law, and slid down the slippery slope of immorality like no other time in this country. Religion is being assaulted by higher education, and lower for that matter, by corporate America, and by the government of this country. Even churches have become the most politically correct of institutions. Our spiritual leaders afraid to stand up and preach to us what is right, even more afraid to do what they and we know is right. We have become a nation, a people, disdainful of the truth, even though we've been told it's that truth that will set us free. So what do we do? Do we wait for the churches, the schools, the government to get it? To wake up one morning and see the light? Hope that Congress will have a sudden conversion and turn this country back in the right direction? If that's what you're waiting for, I have bad news. It isn't going to happen. So I ask you, what do we do? I believe we turn this country back to God and thus to freedom, one person at a time. It starts with you. It starts with me. I know this is not a popular solution today. We love to play the blame game. It's all George Bush's fault. It's Bill Clinton's fault. It's Congress's fault. It's our enemies' fault, our allies' fault, our neighbors' fault. It's their fault. It's everyone's fault but our own. We shake our heads at the corruption we see in Washington. But are you cheating on your taxes just a little? You give the cashier back the extra change she mistakenly handed you? Are you giving an honest day's work? And are you granting an honest day's wage? We're appalled at the infidelity of the politicians whose affairs have come to light. But are you being disrespectful of your wife or your husband? Is it so different? We count the times our leaders play golf while the country is burning. Are you wasting your time, precious time, waiting to see who the winner of this week's American Idol will be? Or what team LeBron James will choose to play for? We can't stand the mudslinging we see in political campaigns. Would you bite your tongue rather than tell that lie or spread that nasty rumor? We complain bitterly that our politicians just won't listen to us, and that's true, they don't. Well, do we really listen to one another? Will you turn off your cell phone while you're driving, eating, praying, visiting, so you can be fully present to those around you and really listen to them? Are you so busy surfing the internet and playing games that you have no time to be there for your children, your spouse, or your neighbors? We accuse the president of not attending church or honoring the National Day of Prayer. Do you show up every week at your place of worship? And do you pray on your knees daily for this country? We despise seeing our leaders bow to foreign powers. Are you doing your best to buy only American-made products, even though the imports are less expensive? And spending, how we hate the spending by our Congress, as Ari pointed out so well. The stimulus, the deficit, the budget, we're incensed by it all. Let me ask you something. Do you have any credit cards that are maxed out? How full is your toy chest? Big screen TV? iPad? iPhone? Surround sound? Did you stay within your budget to get those things? If we can't practice self-control and self-discipline and take control of our lives, why would we expect our leaders to be any different? Our leaders will not be moral, upright, and free of corruption if we are not moral, upright, and free of corruption. The present administration campaigned on the catchword of change. Well, they were right. Our country does need to change. Oh, not the changes we've seen lately, with unfortunately more to come. But we need to change ourselves, one person at a time. That means you, and it means me. We have to be the changes we want to see. Will you hold the high ground as our forefathers did? Will you risk everything to bring this country back to the moral Judeo-Christian roots upon which it was founded? Look into your hearts. Be what you want to see in our leaders. Maximilian Kolbe eventually offered his life in exchange for a fellow prisoner in the death camps. He was starved for 15 days and finally given a lethal injection of carbolic acid because he wouldn't die quickly enough for the Nazis. He didn't just talk the talk. He walked the walk. Will we ever face the threat of death to save our country? 2.5 years ago, I would have doubted it. Today, I'm not so sure. If it comes, will I be ready and up to the call? Will you? I'd like to end today with a recall of one of the stories from the book of Genesis about Abraham's discussion with God and pleading for the salvation of Sodom. It went something like this. Abraham approached God and said, "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Would you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people?" And the Lord said, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place because of them." Abraham then began the bargaining frenzy of all time. He whittled the numbers down to 45, 40, 30, 20, 10, asking God each time if he would spare Sodom if these few righteous people could be found. Each time God agreed that he would save the city, even down to 10 righteous people. Well, we all know the sequel. Apparently the good people couldn't be found because God permitted Sodom to be destroyed. God has not changed. He is still loving and just and merciful. He is still looking for a handful of good people. Are you going to be one of the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10 who will stay God's arm in wrath against this country? Will you be one of those who Almighty God will look down upon and say, "I have found this good man, this good woman. Perhaps I will save America because of them." And then, despite it all, if this country meets its demise and we all perish, we can look at ourselves and look at our children, stand tall, and know that we did all we could with the help of God. And rest assured, He will take care of the rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Patrick. I did not know what she was going to say, but I must say, Mother, you fulfilled my hopes and exceeded them immensely. That was a wonderful talk. Thank you so much.